it's Kelly Ufe, and you're now watching Call It How You See It. Hey, it's your host Kelly Ufe, and today we have our special guest, a book writer, for a matter of fact. His name is Ernest Timnge. Is it right?
Timnge.
Timnge.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. Who actually are you?
I am a Southern Cameroonian.
And you are a book writer. How many books have you written throughout the whole past?
This is my first publication, and I have two books I have written. One is in manuscript, and then this one is published.
Mhm.
And before then, I have published some poems um, in a collection of poems published by different poets. Yeah, so I've published a couple of things.
Oh, okay. So you are from Cameroon, and what is your tribe? I know you're Bamenda because you have your tribalistic clothes, your traditional clothes. What is the significant about your tribe clothes?
Good question. I am typically from Com. Com is one of the biggest kingdoms in the northwest region, if I may say, southern Cameroon. Um, Com has a very unique culture, and I'm a typical traditional person. As you can see, I'm a title holder from Com. I'm a Chindo, uh, which means which in Com means I am like the phone's messenger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know they also have like a tribalistic food in Com. Can you tell your audience what kind of food they have?
Yes. In Com, we our what we call traditional meal, abain, fufukon, and then njama njama, which is vegetables, huckleberry, and then to spice it, we have kati kati. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I know kati kati. Also, can you actually tell your audience what's the name of your book, your new book that's actually coming out, that is actually already out?
Yes. The title of the book is African Folk Tales from Com Kingdom, and you may want to know why I put it African Folk Tales. When I say folk tales, I mean um, because when you look at Africa in general, they have almost like a similar culture. The culture is very unique. Whether you are moving from Cameroon to Nigeria, from Nigeria to Ghana, it's similar. So, like in the folk tales, it's almost like a general theme. Yeah. So when I say African folk tales, because some of those stories I have Nigerians authors or Nigerian writers, they have also tried to mention that the same thing the way Cameroonians would do.
Can you also tell us a little bit about your book, just a preview before anybody goes and buy it out, because we want to know exactly what it is. And you hold it up, so as you're talking, let me help you hold it up as you tell a little bit about your book.
Yes.
Would you like to hold this?
Okay. In this book, titled African Folk Tales from Com Kingdom, we have 9 stories in the book, and the 9 stories are actually fiction. Even though you may find some aspect of truth or some aspect of reality, but some of them are based on true stories or true life experience. Uh, and most of those stories, my my experience as I grew up as a little child in the countryside, in the village. So we sat by the fireplace to listen to stories narrated by our elderly people who had mastered the tradition and they know it. I mean, they master it with a passion, and so they narrated these stories, and with one particular purpose to pass a message, education. That's one of the central key in this in those stories. So, as I've said, There are 9 stories. All the 9 stories, they sat down by the elders, and then I listened to them.
Thank you very much about to actually let us know a little bit about your book. Also, I wanted to ask you a little bit of questions. When you were sitting down and writing, how do you actually come up with these stories, these fictions? How do you actually come up with this fiction? Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Excuse me, let me Yeah, it is writing is a very stressful undertaking. Writing is supposed to be a commitment. Um, if you are not committed, you cannot write. And writing is something that requires sacrifice. You sacrifice time. You sacrifice so many things to achieve what you are writing. Um, and writing, you don't just get up in one morning and then you start writing. It comes that it comes in parts. Like sometimes the inspiration comes like the winds in the atmosphere. And so when it comes, maybe sometimes you need to jot down certain things in order not to forget them. And then when you sit down, maybe you try to see if you can build on those ideas that when coming through your mind. So writing is very challenging. Or sometimes you write something, you are wondering if people will truly appreciate what you are writing, or people will like what you are writing, or people will just, people will just look at you and say, "This, what's this guy writing?" So when you are committed and you actually put it in mind that this is your passion that you have to acquire, have to achieve, yeah, you're good.
So, how did you start writing? Like, how did you start at writing? Was it through your mother, a parent, or you just did it on your own?
Yeah, life has not been so easy with me. I grew up as a struggling child from the village. Didn't have the luxury that some of us may have. Was not born with a silver spoon, but from the house to the farm, I started learning a lot of things. And then when I finally moved from the village to the city of Yaoundé, I lived with my uncle, Professor Ngo. Uh, that is the person who inspired me. He inspired me with his wife, led Agnes Nzu. She too was a writer. She published a book titled Tales from the Grassland and the Forest. I don't know. You may have seen the book, or you may have heard some stories about the book. So the book, like mine, was also a collection of different folk tales that she gathered still by the fireside because, as I said, most cultures or most communities in Africa, they have similar practices, yeah, in doing things. They have certain ways of doing things.
As I close this interview, is would you like to tell the audience, your audience, is there anything that I'd left out that you really want to mention throughout this interview?
Um, what I would tell the audience is that this book is very interesting. The stories are very, very interesting, and it has one central message, which is the moral lessons. When you read, that's when you look at the stories that I've written. At the end of every story or each story, I have posed some questions, and that questions is just like a reminder. If when to remind the audience that when you're reading, you're not just reading; you're reading to get something. You need to learn something.
So, exactly where can we get your book? Where can we find this book? Is it through Amazon?
Yes, the book is in Amazon, is in eBay, is uh, Barnes and Nobles, and it's also in Auto House. That's my publishers. Yeah, if you go to the website, and then you can also find it on. I have my own website, www.ernesttimge.com, and then you can get the book.
So, what exactly can we get in touch with you personally? Like through Facebook? Do you have a Facebook account?
Uh, I have a Facebook account, even though I hardly use it,
Yeah.
but you can reach me by my phone and maybe sometime through email. And but sometimes I go on Facebook, but not all the time. I go there once in a while because I just have a feeling that Facebook is not really secure. That's why I hardly visit it.
Okay.
Yes, I have a feeling that people go to Facebook just to look at faces. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming here at my show. Call it how you see it. I'm so happy that you came. You're stopping by, and we got to learn more about you more. Hopefully, I'll be doing another interview again with you on your next book.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you, and I can't wait to answer some questions.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
And he started reading books from my shelves and then developing the interest to become a writer.
Growing up, he's one of those people you never would have imagined him, achieving all what he's achieved so far. So yeah, I think he's a good guy. He's a very hardworking guy, from nothing to something. Yeah, that's what I can say about him.
Without letting the cat out of the bag, I was invited this evening as the keynote speaker, and I'm supposed to give the audience an avant-goal or a foretaste of the book. But it's a good book. It meets all the standards of published works, especially in the realm of originality. And I'm very excited about it because it taps into memory, which is like an asset in African culture. Because in African culture, we don't have constitutions. The written constitutions are not part of Africa. Constitutions are stored in the memory, and the memory, you can tap into that memory, and that memory is passed down from one generation to another by word of mouth. It is from this memory that this fine author has tapped into to write this scintillating monograph.
He writes well. Those are stories I would recommend everybody to get a copy and copies to friends around.
Say about him.
So, to wrap up this interview, what would you have to say to the viewer to motivate people to buy his book?
Oh, when you heard me talk about from nothing to something, there's a lot of experiences, especially those who, live the same experience. That gives them hope. I think it's a good buy.
To stay updated with Kali How You Sit, like, subscribe, or click the link below.